This is an update on a tragic death that we featured here. I mean, it is tragic no matter how you look at it. Salvatore Anello, he is the man whose 18-month-old granddaughter, Chloe Wigand, she fell to her death outside of a cruise ship window on July of 2019. He's finally been sentenced, and he's been sentenced to 3 years probation. So Salvatore, who's from Indiana, we're keeping all the crimes in Indiana right now, was on a family cruise in July, and he was on the Royal Caribbean, the Freedom of the Seas, when his granddaughter died. She slipped from his hands. There's the surveillance video from the cruise ship where you see him holding her up to look at the window. The initial reports were that she slipped from his hands. He says that he didn't know that the window was open, that he used to do this thing with his granddaughter where she'd like to knock on the glass. It apparently was the only window that was open, which is very unusual. So no matter how you look at it, he feels horrible. Obviously, he was trying to do something special for his granddaughter, and it ended very, very tragically, no matter how you look at this.
Yeah. On the surface, when I first looked at this, you think of a grandfather. I think of my dad. I have kids, and that how a grandfather would never want to hurt their grandchild. But authorities in Puerto Rico decided, look, this is negligent homicide. So they felt like there was something here. And apparently the surveillance footage shows him looking over, lifting the 18-month-old granddaughter, Chloe, holding her. They went to the brothers' hockey games, like you said, so she was used to touching the glass. He apparently thought there was glass ahead of the bar, a little bit ahead, so over the bar. And it does look different than the rest of the boat, which had the glass. Turns out, which is what got me to understand the perplexity here, he's colorblind. And he didn't just say that the medical records show that he's colorblind. So what you and I see, everything looks a little dark. There's a clear opening. Oh, he saw that. But what would be the malice there? And little Chloe's mom doesn't want charges. And so I would think if there was infighting in the family and something was awry there, maybe. But this grandfather appears heartbroken. The medical records show he's colorblind. Why would he want to do this? Nothing in the past showed anything that would lead to this, right? You study, as you know, in crime, the past. Is there a history of this? Is there a history of anything? Nothing. And just the heartbreak to me alone is punishment for life. He said, look, he was interviewed on CBS, and the reporter said, look, the comments say everyone believes you. And he said, that's great, but I still don't have a granddaughter. So I'm heartbroken either way.
Yeah, they really did. The authorities felt that they had to charge him with something because a child has died here. So he entered into a plea deal. He at first was going to fight the charges, and then he said, okay, I will plead guilty. And then they came to an agreement that he would get 3 years probation, so he wouldn't have to do any prison time. And that probation will be supervised in Indiana, even though the crime took place in Puerto Rico. So the grandfather said, I just want to take this plea deal so we can end at least this part of the nightmare for the family. And the family is still suing Royal Caribbean. There's a civil lawsuit, and they claim that the cruise ship allegedly destroyed some surveillance video. And they also blame Royal Caribbean for the risky situation, as they describe it, for making this accident possible. And they could have, according to the family, they feel that the Royal Caribbean could have prevented this accident. And Royal Caribbean says there's only one person responsible for this, and that's the grandfather. So the case, as far as the civil case continues, but at least the criminal case, that's done, but nothing brings back Chloe.
I was listening to the grandfather's attorney who said, look, there was no signage. You know how if you go to a park or, a public place, it says, do not sit here, do not. And then in certain hotel rooms, the windows only open 4 inches. So the attorney is saying that the cruise line could have done at least that, according to his attorney. So that hence the lawsuit, meaning if someone's colorblind or doesn't know, there's no warning or anything that would prevent this. And, in hindsight, everything changes after the fact, doesn't it? So hopefully, nothing will bring back this 18-month-old, but I hope that safety precautions, I don't know, I haven't been on a cruise, are in place on other cruise lines too. If not already, they should be.
Absolutely.